So my name is Melissa Draving, and I own Here For You Concierge, and we are a personal concierge service here in Emmaus, and we started in 2017, so we're almost going on our fourth year. Excited about that, and we've been doing classes for the library for actually probably about 2 years, or maybe. And honestly, it doesn't seem like that long, but I love the library and I love to give back. So it's great to have everybody here tonight.
Thank you for coming.
And Laurie, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, I'm Laurie Miller. I am the Adult Services Librarian at Emmaus Public Library. I'm happy to have everyone come. Like Melissa said, we've been working together for a long time, even though it doesn't seem like a long time. But she always puts on wonderful webinars, and I encourage you to come to all of her webinars. We have at least one a month. Sometimes we, skip if she gets busy. She has other things to do besides do webinars for us, but usually it's just about one a month. So thank you all for coming again.
Awesome. So this is just like a little example. This is actually a really old example of personal errand or concierge services. So for this case study was an elderly couple, and they were this is way before the pandemic, but they were just out of the hospital, so I had to go and pick up the mail from the mailbox, get all their prescriptions that they just got from the doctor, do grocery shopping, and they had actually meal planned for eggplant parm, which I still remember that. That was like this is one of my first errands actually. So they were all able to relax and rest and have everything checked off their list by me. So, and like I said, I love groceries. I love doing homes like type services. So in my business, a lot of my clients are small business owners, and they typically, they're having me work on tasks for their business. But recently I've gotten a few of people who are not necessarily business owners, or they are, but they're having me work on their home. Like today I let the handyman in for one of my clients and helped her get ready to move. So that was exciting. So I'm doing, kind of a mix of business and personal tasks, but I do love to do the home related things just because it's more personal. And I feel like if you save time on the home tasks, then that's like a lot of stress off your plate. You don't have to worry about everything on the weekends or in the evenings. So I just like to help people have less stress. So we're gonna do some more sharing. Thank you all for sharing your recipes and cookbooks with me. And so I actually have a poll here. I'm gonna launch my poll. So here we go. So it's a one question little poll about how often you meal plan. I want to kind of gauge. Oops. Should have had Laurie do the poll. Okay, so we have 5 of 9. So we're getting kind of strong towards sometimes. So sometimes we meal plan. So we don't have anybody that always meals plans. So that's a good indicator for me. And then we have one person who said they never meal plan and one person who rarely meal plans. So I'll share the results. So that's a breakdown. So that's great that most of you sometimes meal plan, and you want to get better at it. So there we go. And then so those of you that sometimes meal plan, how do you do it? Do you have a system? Do you have any do you have a system? Let's start with that. Laurie, I know you've been to my classes. Do you have a system to meal plan yet?
No. I have an inexact delivery service for my groceries, which is my husband. So
Good.
I kind of get what I get. I really dislike going to the grocery store, so I try as best as I can, but it doesn't always work out as I plan. So I just kind of make the things I know and then use the leftovers for other things. Like I'll make meatloaf one night, and then with the leftover ground turkey, I'll make tacos or something along those lines. So it's just kind of like a spur of the moment thing.
But you like to cook once and then use it for multiple things. So that's
Yeah.
great. That's more advanced. So does anybody else want to share how they meal plan? Do you have a system for doing it? Just
I sometimes will write a list of what I'd like to make for dinner and for the week. But what I find is that unless I actually do meal prep, it doesn't always happen. And then I get home from work and think of something I can make that's quicker because I haven't done the meal prep. So that's why I put rarely. Like I plan often, but the actual
yeah, that's definitely true. Especially if you're working till 5 or even like 6 o'clock at night. It's very difficult to try to put a meal together, after you're already tired. So absolutely. But that's good that you're starting to, do the planning. That's very important too, because we have to have the right ingredients if we want to make our meals. So thank you for sharing. And if anybody else, we have somebody in the chat. We have a couple things in the chat. So Darcel says usually veggies in brown rice or salad jars with vinaigrette in the bottom layer with tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce on top. That's great. Absolutely. I have a friend who she has a party for salad in a jar, or a party for soups. And so everybody like brings one thing for their salad in the jar, and then somebody brings chopped up carrots, one person brings little cucumbers, and somebody else brings like sesame sticks or something fun, and then you all go around and make your little salads in a jar, and you have enough, I think, for like 4 or 5 nights or something. So that's really fun. And the same thing with soups. Everybody brings like a crock of soup, and you each get to fill it up, and then you have like 5 different soups for a week. So that was really fun. Before the pandemic, we did that, but maybe after we'll start doing it. And then Anthony says same thing as Deborah, same issue with it not happening when it comes time for it. So prepping the food in the morning, or else it doesn't happen. Absolutely. So let's talk about that some more. So a lot of people just want to go to the store. And honestly, if you walk into a store without a plan for your dinners or your lunches, you're gonna probably wind up with a bunch of snack food and maybe some ice cream. Or at least my family, this is how we used to operate. We would. My mom was a working business owner. She had a record retail store, and so very busy all the time. And my dad primarily took care of me, so he would, he really didn't know how to meal plan, which how can you blame him? But we would just wander in the store and pick some frozen stuff, or we did a lot of frozen food. But my mom would always complain that we never got dinner stuff, and my dad just couldn't quite understand that. But so we ate a lot of takeout and restaurant food, which after a while you get really sick of it. And so I encouraged my mom to start kind of shopping and eating more at home as a little kid. So your proper planning prevents poor performance. And this is so true with the grocery shopping, meal planning. So you have to make time for it, and you have to plan it out. And if you have off on Sunday and that's the day that you have time, then I would say doing your meal prep on Sunday is probably the best option, or Saturday if you can squeeze it in. Because if you what's it called? Mise en place is it's like a technique in cooking where you cut up all your vegetables, you get your chicken all cooked and ready, so that when the time comes you can quickly assemble things. So I would say that's probably a good plan, is to cut up all the vegetables when you get them home on Sunday, wash them, put them into containers, put them in a baggies, and then you can assemble them in different ways, with different sauces. Maybe you're going to make fried rice the one night, and you'll make a stir fry the next night, just try to make it different for yourself. But that would definitely be my tip. So to do an actual meal plan, the one meal plan 1.0, which we usually do, is just a very simple paper-based meal plan. And it really, everybody can do this right now. If you don't have one for the week, you just take your pen and paper, and on the left-hand side, you're just going to write the days of the week. So if we're starting with Monday, today's Monday, we're going to write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. And so that gives yourself a framework. So that's like the easiest, like first little step you can take before you get ready to go to the grocery store. Just make out your days of the week. And for us, personally, my family, we are busy. So we have to also write down what we're busy doing that day, that night. So today it was this class. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to cook or clean or do a dish. So we got takeout tonight. And I even planned out, like I asked my husband what he wanted and planned out who was going to order it. And, he was going to pick it up on the way home from work, and we were going to eat it like 6:15. And that's what we did. So you write out anything that you have, like if you have kids and they're doing travel soccer or something, like you got to write down the days that you're going to be very busy, and just remind yourself, because you're not setting yourself up for success if you plan to make a big fancy dinner on a night that you're not going to really be able to do that. So I plan my fancy recipe dinners usually on Saturday night. So here's what it could look like. You did it across ways. I always do it up and down. So you have your first meal. So for us, the way we kind of do this is, I fill out the first meal that I pick is something that incorporates stuff that's already on hand. So we did this last on Saturday, I think, for the upcoming week. And we were going to make a big piece of fish for Sunday night's dinner, but I remembered that I had put out chicken thighs from the freezer, and we had to use those still. So I made chicken thighs, smothered chicken thighs, and we still had leftover sweet potatoes, and we still had actually had to purchase green beans at the store. So I got a vegetable to go with what we had. So that would be a great way to start the first meal on Sunday, with something you already have to use up. Because while we're doing this, we also want to think about our food waste, because we all know that, what is it, Americans waste like a third of the food that they bring home or something. So we got to make sure that we're picking recipes that use things up. So the other day, Saturday, I had all these onions, and I was like, I have to use these onions. And I Googled recipes that use up onions, and I made onion soup, and it was really, really delicious and easy. And the recipe came from the Onion Society of the United States, which I had no clue was even a thing. So you have your first thing is something obviously that you already have to use up. And then another meal could be something that you've been just wanting to have, maybe from a restaurant. Like a lot of times we do cheesesteaks, and we make them at home with like the good steak and the good, all the peppers and onions and stuff. Another idea could be something like if you have other people in your household, you might want to ask them what they want to make. Maybe they want cheeseburgers or, something specific, like a certain kind of fish or seafood. So it's kind of collaborating with the others that are also going to be eating the meals, because it can't just be one person's job to do all the meal planning, all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the prep work. It has to really be shared. And if you're a single person, you're probably going to be making less. So maybe maybe you'll plan to do like a larger takeout one night and use those leftovers so that you're not cooking every single night, because that's really too much for most people, unless you have the time. which some people do. And then for us, like I said, we do take out at least once a week because we're busy, and that's more realistic for us to just plan to take out or pizza or, whatever. And then another way that we kind of supplement not having to cook all the time is that we'll do frozen, like voila, we used to get when I was little, but now we get P.F. Chang's ramen frozen, or like something, it's usually something like that. So this kind of gives you enough ideas to, make your weekly meal plan using stuff you already have on hand, utilizing some frozen, some takeout, and also asking those in your household what they want so that you're not the only one trying to come up with all the ideas. And then going to the grocery store. Personally, when people tell me they go to the grocery store every day, I want to just be like, oh, that's poor planning. So if I don't know about you, but if I go to the grocery store every day, I'm probably spending about twice as much as I would spend if I go once a week, because, you're more likely to get impulse items. If you're going at the end of the day, you're tired and you're cranky and you just want to go home. So you're more likely to get the ice cream and the cookies that will just make you feel better. So you don't want to go every day. Try to go once a week if you can, because as soon as you go to the store for one thing, like my one example was I went for lemons one time and bought like $30 worth of stuff and ran into somebody and had to have a conversation for like 10 minutes. But it was somebody from our class. So anyhow, you are wasting a lot of time if you're going every day, and also probably a lot of money. And we do a budget based off of how many people are in a household. So this Jordan Page, her name is, it's called Fun, Cheap, or Free. And she has a rule of thumb. It's like $100 per person per month, starting at $300 for groceries. So she has got like a family of 7 or 8 now. And so their budget is, obviously like almost $1,000. But, that seems to work out pretty good. We just had somebody else move in our house. My dad moved in. So we upped our budget, a little bit, but that's a budget rule of thumb. And a good way to kind of keep costs down and also have more items for meals is to try to make meals with what you have on hand. So it's okay to go and, if something's on sale, buy 2 or 3 of them, but you have to use them up eventually. So for us, usually it's the Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. I usually buy that by like the handfuls, and then I have to find a way to use it up. So hence the smothered chicken. But, whatever it is that you're ending up with a lot of, whether it be beans, you have to make chili, or possibly coconut milk, and you have to make coconut curry. With the internet, you can find a recipe for pretty much anything, to use up anything. And a lot of times soups are good to use vegetables up. So like I'll make carrot ginger soup, broccoli soup, a zucchini soup, like roasted red pepper soup. Like you can make a soup out of almost everything with an immersion blender, and they're always delicious and very healthy. So that's a good way to keep your budget lower and also eat healthier, and be able to prep things quicker. Because if you already have, like, let's say it's tuna noodle casserole that you like to have every once in a while, you can pretty much keep your tuna on hand, your egg noodles, your cream of mushroom. All you need then is, I think, frozen peas and maybe 1 or 2 other things. So it's good to know your favorites that you always go to, and just try to keep those things on hand so you can put them together. So this is the actual meal plan from my household. These are actually like a little bit old, but you can see it's nothing like, that we need a recipe for. There's my coconut curry with chicken thighs. I love, love, love that. But I asked my husband, I was like, would you like curry? And he said, no, not this week. So, I had to kind of and be flexible to what he wants to eat, because it's not just about one person. And if you have different tastes in your household, you have to really be conscious of it. So you can see some easy things that are just, pretty standard: turkey burgers, breakfast for dinner, frozen pizza, leftovers. Oh, that's a good way too to fill in a meal blank, is by having your leftovers, because if you are cooking a few nights a week, you're obviously going to have 1 or 2 nights where there's more than enough. So you can plan to have the leftovers, and then you're at least expecting it. And also, when it's like 5:30 and you're hungry and you don't care, those leftovers, they're pretty good. So I don't know about you guys. We also have our leftovers a lot of time for lunch, and we put them in these little like silicone bowls. And I try to make them a little bit different than they were. That's a big tip, is that like if it was, if it was like fried rice or something, maybe I'll put like a little Polynesian sauce or something, like, a little different vegetable when I eat it the second time. So it's not the exact same thing. Or, maybe I put like fried onions on top, just so it's a little teeny tiny bit different from the first time. So yeah, and then we do oftentimes at the bottom, if we had an idea that we didn't use for that week, we'll put it as a bonus meal idea, because maybe the night that you go to make your recipe, you realize that you didn't have something, and you have to kind of switch gears, maybe do frozen that night. So, or something came up, last minute, and you weren't able to cook any longer. So, backup is always good. So once you have the original grocery list, like all filled out with each day of the week's meals, then you're going to make your grocery list. So you go through each meal, Monday. This, we can do this with this one. So if this was this week, and I was making my grocery list, I would have to add salmon, broccoli. I would have to add probably wraps, because I don't have those. I would have to add, I wouldn't have to add anything for meatloaf, because I have everything on hand for meatloaf. But you just have to go through each day's meal and make sure that you have everything you need for that meal, or write down on your grocery list what you're going to have to buy for that. So we would have to buy frozen pizza, for example. And then at the bottom of this little picture here, this is actually how my aunt does her grocery list. She takes the paper and divides it into 4 quadrants. And then 1 quadrant is all of her like dairy and cheeses and all of that type of stuff. 1 quadrant is frozen, 1 quadrant is vegetables, and I guess 1 quadrant is meats. And that way it helps her divide the store up, because we all know that you can waste a lot of time running back and forth in the grocery store from one section to another. So it does help to have the list in order. So you can either do that by typing up your grocery list, or doing something like this, or this is meal planning 2.0. So you can even buy a tablet that's a grocery list in the order of the store. You can get those on Amazon. I think they're like less than $10. And that is kind of like an extra little tip there. And while we're talking about our 2.0 ideas, you can also use actual like planner for this. So if you want to get really fancy, you maybe you want to invest a little bit of money into your meal planning, because it's very important and will save you money. You could buy a dedicated planner that has all the days of the month, and then fill in your meals there. And then you have like an extra planner that's all your meals. And so that's a little 2.0 tip. Talk about that. And then when you go through the grocery store, a lot of times they are set up so that you actually will go to the right. I think immediately you're supposed to go into the produce section immediately. And the reason for that is that they've done studies, and if you go and buy produce first, you feel really good about yourself. And so later on in your grocery trip, you're more likely to buy cookies and ice cream and bad stuff because you were so good in the produce section. So for me, I like to start in the opposite way. If I'm in Giant, I'll go to the left and kind of, yeah, 'cause sometimes I have to like fight my way through if I'm going to the left. And I even do this when I go to Wegmans for my clients on Fridays. I'll go to the left and go that way, and it just, it's easier and it's actually quicker. So my theory is that if you spend more time in the grocery store, you're going to spend more money there. And we have another question from Martha. Can you speak to the fact that I like to eat healthy? My husband would like to eat fast food or junk food every day. His input is to eat junk food. That's actually a really good question. And I did talk a little bit about my family. My parents, that's kind of how we were, is that my mom would love to just have tofu and only vegetables and do vegetarian. And my dad would love to eat her food and then go get a burger afterwards. So we went through this, and what I would say is that I would just set the example for your husband. A lot of times, like, husbands don't want to be told what to do or how to do it, or, why it's better for them. But if they see you doing things a certain way and they see that you're committed to it and that you're not going to shove it down their throat, a lot of times they're more receptive to your, opinion. So this actually, this theory is not just for eating healthy, but for decluttering and organizing. So a lot of times when we have family members who are disorganized, or, maybe they have hoarding tendencies, or they just hold on to stuff for no reason, we try to just control their behavior and tell them how to live their lives, when really the better solution is to really focus in on yourself and how you can improve and how you can set that example for them. And a lot of times that, getting rid of your own things, organizing yourself, trying to have good habits for yourself will rub off on other people. So does anybody, I'm only been married for 4 years. Does anybody else think that that is appropriate? Or I feel like maybe maybe I'm like, I would like some feedback from the audience. Does anybody agree with that? Or can anybody give me an example where that, was true for them or not true?
I would say that was true, that what you said is on point. And I'd also like to point out, like with my husband and I, we've introduced each other to different foods that we, didn't think that we would like. And then once you try it, you find that you do like it. And he has a tendency too, if I'm usually the cook in the family, if I make it, he'll eat it. He may tell me that he doesn't feel like eating something or he won't like it, but then once I make it, he'll discover that he likes it. So I think sometimes you just have to almost force the issue. Not that I force to eat it, but kind of, prove that there's pretty much all food is good. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there is a way to prepare healthy food in a way that's more appealing. Like, for example, when my mom would just take tofu and like slice it and bake it into tofu fries, like we knew it was tofu. It didn't taste like anything. But when I would go to the Chinese restaurant and get General Tso's tofu, I was loving that tofu and I would come back for more. And that's what I would pick over, chicken. It's been a while since I had that, but so you have to be really, like you said, open-minded, and you have to be experimental about your healthy food. Like for us, I was kind of like one of my favorite healthy meals was is still the curry chicken in coconut milk. And for me, like I can put all kinds of different vegetables with that, and even though my husband doesn't like curry 24/7, you know, he doesn't want to have it every single month. You know, there's certain things like he doesn't want to have Mexican every single, you know, night of the week, which I did that. I think when we were first, you know, living together, I would make Mexican. I think I made it like 4 or 5, I don't know how many nights in a row, but he was just like, that's too much. So, and then Anthony, or I'm not sure if it's Anthony, but I have the same issue with my husband. He will often say that healthy food is not filling enough and he's still hungry. And actually, there is some science to support that. I went to a nutritionist a few years ago, and she told me that I was eating too many calories for the size, my like height and weight. And she said that I should not be eating the same portions as my husband, who is taller and weighs more than me, and that he should actually probably have about like a third more portion than I should. And for me, that was like a really big eye opener, because I never considered the fact that when I serve portions, mine should not be as large as his. You know, I kind of just always made him exactly equal. And lo and behold, that's not nutritionally sound. And we think, my mom would say when I was growing up that my dad would eat as much as me and her combined. And so, you know, if he was doing work, manual labor, that does make sense, you know. So there's some validity to him wanting, you know, a larger portion and more filling food. So just have to kind of maybe give him like extra bread on the side or something like extra to really fill him up. But it's not, you know, that's very valid in my opinion. We have another chat. I feel like it's about having the meal made fast and ready and quick. Absolutely. And with fast food, that's the attraction. So that's where a meal plan is good, because there's no excuse if it's already made in regards to time. Absolutely. And like for meal prep, you can definitely do, like you can buy the little containers, the meal prep containers from Amazon, and you can make all of your meals for the whole week. And, you know, just like either rice and chicken and vegetable, or some sort of combination of, you know, obviously a starch, a vegetable, and a protein. And a lot of people really like that. Like there's one gentleman in my networking group, and he lost over like, I think like 150 pounds just, and that's all he does. All he eats is he has, you know, does this on Sunday. He makes a big thing of chicken and rice and vegetables up, and then puts them in the meal containers, and each one is like measured out to be 500 calories, and it works for him. And, you know, that's what he does now. So you just have to decide like what's more important, and like how, you know, is how to kind of make it a little different, in my opinion. Like, you know, like we talked about, little different toppings or different sauces, because I would get bored like that personally. And then also we have a chat that says the main issue is not the planning and the prep, but the cleanup. And they don't want to get takeout because, or they want to get takeout because you don't have time to clean it up. So cutting down on the cleanup, I would make sure that you're cleaning throughout your cooking, and trying to focus on more like one pot meals. So I recently learned that I can put my slow cooker in the dishwasher when, you know, the pot. And I'm like, woohoo. So we use the dishwasher like a workhorse. It gets run every single night. And I'll put, you know, I just have regular simple aluminum pans. They're not anything fancy, but I love that they can just go in the dishwasher. And I put my cookie sheets in there. Like I don't have fancy things because, you know, I don't want them to get ruined. I want to be able to just put them in the dishwasher and not worry about them at the end of the day. But then, of course, there's the hand wash dishes. And we had somebody in the chat that mentioned the Fly Lady. Does anybody else like the Fly Lady? Or who was it that said the Fly Lady? Leanne, can you tell us about the Fly Lady? Can you? I don't know if Leanne's.
Do you want me to unmic?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what the Fly Lady says about your dishes in your kitchen?
Well, the Fly Lady, she's I don't know what you would call her. She's a home.
Like organizing and cleaning expert.
Yeah, she talks about planning, big on planning. Look at your calendar for tomorrow. What's for today? Get your cooking done in the morning. You know, she looks ahead just like your structure of the meal plan, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So she turned me on to the idea of looking into meal planning and coming here.
Awesome. But what I was gonna say is that she always says that you have to clean your kitchen or your sink. Your kitchen sink has to be spotless at the end of the night, and that you should never go to bed with dishes in your sink because you know, leaving them there, I guess they get all grody and it's harder to clean them. And I guess it's also about getting yourself into the habit of doing the dishes every night. But I also have like one certain knife that I really like to use, and so that kind of cuts down on having so many different knives. And yeah, I mean, just I love that dishwasher. I don't know, that's my biggest tip is try to like have things you can just put in the dishwasher. And if you have to run it 2 times a day, then by all means run it. And just, you know, I don't think it'll ruin like every dishes. Some people say it'll ruin it, but and also if you have to kind of maybe cut back, like if you have a cast iron skillet. Like one time I went over my girlfriend's house and I helped her with dishes and I cleaned her cast iron skillet, and like they were so fussy about how it had to be cleaned. So maybe if you're worried about having a lot of dishes, cut down on like things like that you have to like put kid gloves on, and also clean while you cook, and try to do one pot meals. Okay. So when you go to the grocery store, if you have a low grocery budget, pick the smaller cart. And if you have a big budget with a big family, you obviously got to use the bigger cart. And when I go, sometimes I do shopping for 2 families at the same time, and I use the cart, I use the basket, I use the undercarriage, and I even have to go back for a second cart, put one in customer service. So the cart definitely makes a difference when you're on a budget. Just try to pick the smaller one. Putting your list in order so you're not running back and forth from one end of the grocery store to the other. And staying under budget, you could make sure that you're using local produce. Like here in Pennsylvania, we are blessed to have local zucchini. We have tomatoes from Jersey. We have all kinds of farmers markets. So you can really save money by using local in-season produce. A lot of times it's on sale, and also by just doing the whole meal prep process. That will definitely help you stay under budget. So also I sometimes like to buy, like I'll look for the manager special because that is marked down since it's already been there a few days, and you can save between 33% and 50% off meat by buying the ones with the stickers that are manager special. But then of course you have to make sure you use it that day or freeze it immediately. So that saves me a lot of money. And since this is 2.0, you could get really fancy and you could make a recipe binder, which we made during one of our other classes, and is so fun. I actually have mine downstairs, so I might run and grab it. But basically, that is a project, probably for a Saturday or Sunday, and you're just basically photocopying all of your recipes that you use from the books that you have and putting them into one binder. And I divided mine up by protein so that I have I have a section for chicken, one for fish, beef, and that's how I kind of organize it. So if I have, chicken on hand, I can just go and look at all the chicken recipes that I love, and save you some time. And, you don't have to store 17 cookbooks in your kitchen. You can store them somewhere else and just have the recipe binder. And there's my favorite book, my Sharing Our Best, where I have all my fun pie recipes. I have taco pie, I've got hamburger pie, you've got your Pennsylvania Dutch desserts like your AP cake and your shoe fly pie, and Oh, it's also good. I love Pennsylvania Dutch food. And I don't know if I found out about it on this doing these classes, but my somehow I got invited to join Pennsylvania Dutch recipes on Facebook, and that is so much fun. Everybody posts their Pennsylvania Dutch recipes, or you can look, post it. Like somebody will say, "Oh, I used to have this in my grandma's house. Does anybody have a recipe?" And one time I finally posted because I lived in Germany, and one night for dinner, my host father, he made this big pot of like mustard cream soup with hard-boiled eggs and hard-cooked potatoes. And although it sounds really weird, it was really delicious. And so I made it myself after I got the recipe on Pennsylvania Dutch Recipes on Facebook. So that's a 2.0 tip, is join a recipe group on Facebook if you really want to find some good recipes. So here's all stuff you'd need to make a binder if you wanted to do it. Just gonna photocopy all the recipes and put them into page protectors and put dividers in there. And I got the dividers that have the pockets, so I can put the new recipes in there in the pockets until I 3-hole punch them or whatever. So let's get cooking. And of course we did do we also did a class for keeping your kitchen organized, where we talked about organizing your kitchen by zone, prep zone, pantry zone, dishes zone, so that you can kind of have almost like an assembly line. And that goes back to the book I read on mise en place, which is called Work Clean, I think by Dan Charnas. And that book was really helpful. It was applying the principles of mise en place to productivity and work. But it was, if you like cooking, you really like that book, because there's a lot of like stories about the kitchen and, different people that came up and were really successful after being like, busboys and stuff. So it was a really interesting productivity book, even though, because a lot of them can get a little boring and dry. And right now I'm actually reading Brian Tracy book called Master Your Time, Master Your Life, which has been really good. And it talks about the same type of, system we're using for meal planning, but with your tasks. So you write down all your tasks for the next day. And he said that, people that make lists can improve their productivity by 25%. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna open it up to kind of questions, and we can go through these chats here and just kind of talk and share. So if you, of course, you can reach out to me and follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm not very active. And then if you certainly can reach out through my website or through email. So yeah, so we'll stop the sharing and we'll go through some of these chats here. I think we talked about that one. Cleanup, cut down on cleanup. Somebody finished their recipe book. Oh, wow. Martha, yes, thank you so much for taking action on that class. Because sometimes I feel like I wonder if people actually do this stuff. So it makes me very happy to hear that you did a recipe book and that it works great and that you love it. They're such a fun thing. Anything you can do to make the boring fun. So who's got questions or stuff they want to talk about?
I thought I would recommend the Instant Pot
Oh yeah.
to everybody. I know it's not for everyone, but I like it because it sometimes cooks food quicker, but you can just put it in there and let it do its thing and then work on other things as that's cooking. You can also do a lot of really good one-pot meals in there. With my favorite, for instance, is it's chicken, cheese, broccoli, and rice. You just put all of that in there and then cook it and it's ready. And it's really delicious, actually. And my kids even like it too, because they can't tell it's broccoli, because it gets all mushed up and together. And you can make yogurt and all sorts of really weird things that you would never think you could make in a pressure cooker. So I recommend that. And there's also a really fanatical fan base on Facebook. If you want to join a cooking group, there's always tons and tons of recipes there.
Awesome. Yeah, and my best friend, she swears by her air fryer. She makes pretty much everything in there now. Every time I go over there, she's putting something in it. We made really good kale chips one time. She made a whole pork loin in there. She makes everything in the air fryer. But we have one question. Somebody had high hopes for the Instant Pot, but the setting times can get tricky. Any hints on that? I do not have an Instant Pot.
The setting the times, I usually kind of just Google like brown rice Instant Pot, and then I check and see, they'll recommend like 15 minutes and then leave it in there for a natural release for 5 minutes and then vent it. So I'm kind of just finding what I can on Google and usually just sticking with that. I'll try various recipes or setting times. The only thing I wouldn't recommend it for is if you're cooking like large chunks of meat, like a roast or something, it doesn't seem to do the job, but that's the only to be useful about it.
Somebody asked for the link to the recipe binder class. I will have Kelly add that to the email that we will send out after the class. That's a great question. And also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but all of the classes that we do, we always have a blog that goes with them on my website. So you can go and look and see all the different blogs that we do on each different topic. So there's one for this class and all the other classes too. And a couple, I should actually send this out too. But we did a blog that was all the recipes that were submitted from one of the first classes. So I'll add that too. I forget what recipe that's when Laurie, she had her chili casserole recipe that she submitted for us. The link on Amazon to the $10 tablet. I'm not sure. I'll have to. The one that I used to have a tablet that I liked better. It was grocery list tablet, and it was completely just in the order of the store, and it just, I don't know why I liked it better. And then I got a replacement when I ran out of pages, and the one I have now, this is pretty much the one I have now. Sending that out in the chat. But I wish I could find the one I used to have. I think I got it like Barnes and Nobles like several years ago. And they last a really long time. But this basically what I typed in was grocery list magnet pad for fridge, or that's what came up in the chat. This one, yeah, the knock knock blue one. Yep, that's what we have now, and it's nice. But like I said, I like the other one better. Just like for some reason, it was more like this one. I'm gonna send this one I just found. Part of my job that I love is doing personal shopping. So we're always buying stuff for people on Amazon. So like, yeah. But yeah, those little filled out list pads are great. And there's one that's actually for a meal plan specifically, the yellow one. I think I showed it in one of my slides. Yeah, so it's a little, investment, but it seems to help to like, it's fun, it's fun to just grab the pad off the fridge and just do it. I guess this is it. Yeah, the knock what to eat. This is the one that's just for meal planning. And it looks like it's a different color in person. So yeah, they have a couple different ones, different colors. And so it's like more 2.0 stuff, I would say if you're only meal planning sometimes, first get yourself meal planning every week and make it very easy for yourself. Use like a regular pad of paper and just, make your meal plan. But what I like about using the grocery list pad is that I'll make the meal plan on the back and then just turn it over and make the grocery list. So I'm just like turning it back and forth. So, but you could do the meal plan at the bottom of the paper and then the grocery list at the top. You can do it however you want it. So what is one tip everybody is going to use right away? I want to know either in the chat box or you'll have to come off mute and use your voice. No, the further we get into Zoom meetings, it seems like the fewer people want to be on camera and want to talk. We're all like, no. But yeah, I want everybody to tell me one thing they're gonna use right away, because I feel like you're more likely to use it. About you, Leanne, I see you came off mute.
Yeah, I like the you gave me so much here, I can't even. I really like the organize your kitchen into zones, and
Okay.
I really like zones at the moment, so that's probably my first one.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we have on the chat, somebody likes the idea of using leftovers to plan subsequent meals. Yeah, I actually did made that onion soup on Sunday, and I'm taking some of the soup and I used it in my smothered chicken and just to add onions and like a little bit of my broth, and it made it extra delicious. And I cannot possibly eat all the soup I made, so I'm gonna figure out how to eat it. And then somebody else said separating the grocery list into sections. Yes. Thank you, Aunt Nancy, for that one. She's and then somebody else said, I'm going to definitely try to come up with a menu plan for this week. Yeah, absolutely. It's, it will take a little bit longer when you first start doing it every week. And this is true with most things, is that, the first couple times you do it, it's going to take a lot of activation energy, they call it. But once you do it every week, like for, half a year or a year or two, it's just like, it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes the most, and if you're doing it, your meal plan every single week on the same day, Sunday rolls around and you have to go to the store, then it's just, almost automatic to make your meal plan. And then Lori says she's going to finish her grocery trip in the produce aisle. Yeah, that's smart. I don't know. It's so many interesting things to learn about the grocery store. Like, since I've been going every week now for like over a year for clients and for my own family, like, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Like the cereal aisle is apparently the biggest aisle for like marketing, like the way they set up the cereals. There's so much science that goes into like what's at eye level versus what's on the floor versus like what's in bags. And my husband had to do a project on the cereal aisle for his marketing class in college. I was like, what? We have another question. Is there an ideal day you like to grocery shop? The freshest food and the best selection. Sometimes I plan my meals and then the store doesn't have what you need. I would say if you want the freshest food, then, and if, I don't know, are you in Pennsylvania? I'm not sure, but if I would go to the farmer's market, if I want the freshest food, For me, I'm spoiled. The farmer's market is like, 5-minute walk, but that's part of the reason we moved here to Emmaus. So, but the best day to grocery shop, I think, is subjective because there's certain days that there's less people there. So if that's, better for you, I'd say probably during the week, like between 9 to 5. But the freshest food, like, is really, that's kind of, your grocery store will have certain things that are different. So for example, on Friday I was at Wegmans and my client wanted chicken kebabs, and I asked them where are the chicken kebabs, and he's like, well, we're only getting them on Friday afternoons because the supplier is short staffed and they're out by like Saturday afternoon. So if I want the chicken kebabs, I have to come on Friday afternoon, not Friday morning. So also I learned about Wegmans that they restock the meat in the afternoon. So like sometimes the meat was out and it was, I would have to go later or something. So certain times of day, they're restocking things. So you kind of have to maybe make friends with the people at the grocery store and ask them what day their trucks come in and kind of gauge it that way. But if you really want the freshest food, you have to go to your local butcher, go to your local, produce markets, and you might have to go to more than one store.
Yeah, so that was my question, if you can hear me. So what over the years, we've had a farm share for like the past 14 years. And then you have a certain day that you have to do your pickup. You don't always know. The one we have this year has been better. They give us several days notice of what we're going to get. But I always ran into trouble before that we wouldn't know what we were getting until like the day before. And then I get my list and I think, okay, well, now I'm going to use these things and plan my meals around that. And then sometimes you get there and then everyone else took all those, whatever item you were going to make your meal with, and then it's not there. Then I have to rethink it or substitute. And then I also have to go to the grocery store because our farm share obviously doesn't have everything. So then I started running into, well, I need to go to the farm for this and the grocery store for this, but then the one I go to that's the cheaper one doesn't carry, because I like to go to Aldi to save money, but then they don't have everything either. So then I was making all these trips and it was just taking up too much time. So I feel like over the years I need to consolidate the shopping, consolidate the meals so that they're one pot, or do freezer meals, or to cook healthy and get what I want, but then also be able to make it happen. I think I was doing the planning, the shopping, everything was there, but then I used up all my time and now I don't have the time to actually make the food, and then I throw it all out. So
what day can you get your farm share?
This year it's a Thursday and you have to pick up between 2 and 7. So and my son has an activity, so I have to go in one direction, 20 minutes to get the farm share, run home, put everything away, and then run in a complete opposite direction a half hour to his activity. And then I'm not getting home until 7. So that day where all the food is brand new, I can't even cook. And then the next day is Friday. So I don't want to grocery shop at that day of the week. I feel like when I grocery shop close to the weekend, whether it's Friday through Monday, a lot of stuff isn't there or it's old. I don't know. That's why somebody told me once Tuesday was a good day.
Yeah, Tuesday is a good day. But like you said, it depends what store you're going to. And with stores like Aldi, like their business model is based off of only having one type of, whatever it is. So it is going to be tough. It's always, what is the most important thing? So somebody recently was telling me, like, first you set your priorities in order and then you make the decisions based off your priorities. So like, is your highest priority having the very healthiest food that's the freshest, or is it having, food every day that's home cooked, or is it, having time and, not being stressed? Like, so what is the most important thing to you and your family? And then you make the decisions based off of that. So if it's like the most important thing is the healthy food, then yes, you're going to prioritize the time and all the energy to make that happen. But if it's, if you kind of first you have to figure out where is the priority and then make the decision based off of that. But having a farm share is a wonderful resource. But let me actually think, let me give you a different idea that might, may or may not work for your family depending on your situation. So I recently learned from one of my clients who is a high performance coach. She said that she is not as into food as I am. I guess she could basically care less. Like, she said one time she even almost passed out at her desk because she just was like working so hard and didn't even like get up to eat. And so what she decided is that she found a local like I guess college student who needs to make some extra cash, and she has him make all of her food and put it into like the containers for her and like bring it to the house, so that she basically only has to like go and take a container and put it into the microwave and like cook it, and then that's how she accomplishes that goal. So, is that realistic for every budget? Probably not. But maybe there's somebody that is a friend that also goes to, or maybe you could rope a friend into also going to the farm share, picking your stuff up, and then, split the prep up with them or something, kind of like get creative about it. Because a lot of times, like, I think Stephen Covey or somebody talks about this, like there's two people fighting and one wants the window open and one wants the window closed. But they don't realize that there's like a third solution that could possibly be achieved. Like maybe one person could turn their desk a different way, or, they could put a fan a certain way, like so that both people can have what they want. Maybe one wants it to be a little cooler and one wants the breeze or something. So it's kind of finding a little bit more creative solution, like you said, if you're going in different directions and you're not getting home till 7:00, it's not realistic to do a bunch of meal prep when you get home. But maybe your neighbor also would love to do a farm share, but if you picked it up, maybe they could, prep some of it for you and give it to you in little, containers or something, or, think of a way that you could maybe enlist some help in a way that's not going to be like, expensive for you, and it's going to kind of create a win-win situation. So that's definitely a 2.0 topic there. But I was thinking about that. I was like, well, why not? There's probably I was thinking about that for myself. I was like, I bet there's neighbors or, people that just want to, make some extra cash, and maybe they're already cooking for their family and they just, can double their recipe and bring it to your house, and why not? And for me, like, I'm in the business of doing things for other people that they don't want to do, don't have time to do, don't feel like doing, can't do themselves. So, that for me, like, that's what I do for other people. So why shouldn't I have some people do some things for me too? Like, it doesn't make sense for me to do it all and then tell everybody else, oh no, you just have me do it. So it's another thing about leading by example. Like, if I want others to hire me to do things for them, I have to be comfortable hiring people to do some things for myself. And then somebody else said, maybe you can make your meal plan after you get your farm share so you can plan accordingly and minimize your trips. Yes. And I would say that maybe you go to Aldi every other week or once a month and get the things that are the really good deals at Aldi, like peanut butter and I don't know what it is, like tuna fish, or, what do they have? Frozen cheesecakes that I really like. like a lot of times my one client, I noticed that she has everything in bulk and it's overflowing and there's no room. So I said, well, maybe you go to Costco once a month instead of every other week. And, we can cut down on some of that bulk and save space and money probably. So yeah, does anybody else have any other questions, or probably hang out for another 5 minutes? If not, we can certainly wrap it up early. Well, not early, but on time. So yeah, like I said, if anybody wants to reach out to me and you have any ideas or questions, or you want to send me a fun recipe, feel free. And definitely, if you're in Emmaus, check out the library. They have a lot of good cookbooks and organizing books and homemaking books. And if it's not at Emmaus, they can request it from the Interlibrary Loan Patrol. And also, they have an app where you can even get cookbooks on your phone for free. And I recently did that. They had on the Overdrive app, which you can ask Laurie about if you don't know what it is or how it works or anything. But I downloaded an ebook that was a cookbook, and it was all of the recipes of Pennsylvania. So it had every like historic Pennsylvania restaurant, like Eagle's Mere and like the William Penn Inn, which we used to go to for New Year's every year. And it was so much fun. And I think I screenshotted a couple of the recipes to be able to make them later. I don't know if that's okay or not, but that's what I did. So yeah, so the library is a great resource. They have lots of help if you need a librarian to help you with the computer, and lots of fun community stuff. So definitely support them. And thank you everybody for coming out tonight, and definitely happy meal planning. So I hope you guys have a great night.
Thank you,
Bye.
Melissa.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a nice night.
Thanks everybody for
Thank
coming.
you.
You're welcome.